if you ask God to show you something and you have a heart for it, you have to be willing to stay the course, though.
Well, we actually knew each other in junior high, and he asked me to marry him. I said he was a weirdo. So, second year in college, I think, and he was actually dating my friend. And so I started immediately praying that they would break up. And we had a couple of dates, and then we went back to school. Back in the day, we wrote letters to each other because we couldn't afford a phone bill. And we came home for spring break, and we dated for spring break. And then he asked me to marry him shortly after. And at first it was fantastic. He was fun to be with. We had no money. We stayed in a Red Roof Inn for our honeymoon in Kansas City. But then, almost 5 years in, we had Bradford, and everything started to change. The inconvenience of a child was difficult for him, and so his temper would come out. And as a mother, I couldn't tolerate that. So as we had more kids, we had 4 kids, and I started protecting the kids more. He started being gone more, and our marriage took a hard hit. We were already at the poverty level, and one day he came home. It was Aubrey's first ballet recital, and he was in a terrible mood, and I said, "Can you just not until we get the kids in bed?" And he said, "I have something to tell you." So we got the kids into bed, and I thought he'd had an affair. And then when he told me what it was, I wished he'd had an affair because it seemed easier to handle. He had mishandled money from a lot of people, 5 people maybe in particular. And it had gone over state lines, so it was a federal offense. And so we were being investigated by the FBI and all sorts of things. But I do have to say he owned it. He gave his testimony without any representation, which they just said was a bad thing to do. It was terrifying. And then we got just a public defender. We didn't have any money to get anything else. So God took us through all of that. And in prison, God changed his heart, which allowed me then to just deal with the anger that I had when he got home, because I had to be the not angry one all the time. But we had a lot of repair to do in our relationship, but that started then. But unfortunately, that started Bradford's rebellion, which was also devastating. And his rebellion went into addiction, which we had never dealt with before. The funny thing is, I had prayed in college just before I met Joe. I became a Christian at a young age. I can remember I accidentally said 2 swear words in high school, repented immediately. I didn't do any of the things you shouldn't do. I was just a good kid. I went to Bible studies. We'd go out dancing on the weekends. Nobody drank. And I got to college and I felt like I was a hypocrite because I was living a life and not understanding other people's stuff. So I asked God to make changes in my life to help me to see
the pain in other people's lives. So he gave it to me. And my husband going to prison, my son becoming an addict. But he also showed that he's the one who's there. And he saved our marriage. He saved my kid from killing himself. And it gave us a heart for what we do.
The gift that God gave us is that he's allowed us to experience the pain of so many different things, from marriage to addiction to prison to health problems to poverty, so that when we put our arms around these people, they know that what they feel is real.
Mm-hmm.
And, outside of, and have a community and people beside them that'll walk them through it. What would I have done without a wife that stayed beside me when I was going through that until I could finally deal with myself and be free? What would I do without, what would we have done without a community to come around us and love us? Now, Change Course becomes a community for people who don't have community.